calls, all channels.
It's Cortana?
Her and the other AIs are shutting down everything from Earth to the outer colonies.
Roland?
Found you. Hide and seek's over, Infinity.
Lieutenant Jet! Emergency subspace now!
For the galaxy shelters all, but only the created are its masters.
We're in the clear, Captain.
Can she track us?
No reason to think she can't.
Continue random jumps. Steer clear of major settlements.
We're just gonna run?
Only until we could find a way to fight.
Hey guys, JLoughlen here, and welcome back to Game Changers. Today, we're going to be talking about Halo's art style, and more importantly, how 343 Industries can revert back to old, Bungie, art style greatness that we used to know. Bear in mind that this is more tailored towards the UNSC design, rather than the Covenant, which can be reverted through technicalities such as subspecies, etc, so we're not going to be talking about those today. Now, before people start saying that they can't change it back because it's their game and they can do what they want, yes, you are right, but you're also wrong. Halo Wars 2 is this year's Halo game. Halo 6 and Halo 3 Anniversary will not be coming in 2017, which is a real shame because imagine what Blur Studios could have done with Halo 3. God, that shit was a masterpiece. Halo Wars 2's art style is that of the original games. And obviously Halo Wars 1, for canonical reasons, obviously. So let's go over those briefly before we get going. The Spirit of Fire has been lost in space since the events of Halo Wars 1, which took place in 2531, 27 years before Halo 5 Guardians, meaning that the tech they have on board the ship is that of the old art style. By the time of Halo 4, where the UNSC had started to use Forerunner technology with their own, the Infinity being the biggest example of this, with more equipment getting Forerunner upgrades over the course of 4 years between Halo 3 and Halo 4. Keep this in mind. Master Chief had his armor design changed by the time of Halo 4. The fan reaction to this was quite angry. The design was made way too drastically, and the fans didn't quite like it. And me personally, I didn't quite like it either, because it didn't resemble the Master Chief of old. It was sort of, hey, look at this spacey dude. Like, I think I was most pissed off about the chest piece and the arms, like the shoulder pieces more than anything. Currently, it is believed that Cortana modified Chief's armor with microbots over the 4 years he was frozen in cryostasis. So that's the canonical explanation we'll be using for the change of Master Chief's armor. Side note, a future episode of Game Changers will be about how 343 could have changed Chief's armor so that it would sit better with the fans. In Halo 5, Chief's armor seems to be in Mark 6 Gen 2 Mjolnir, shown by his undersuit being partly green like the Spartan 4's. This leads me to believe that his specialized armor was inspired by Cortana's modifications during Halo 4's prologue. Now, here's where we get going. Most of the UNSC's new stuff is created with Forerunner stuff, right? So who's to say that the new Mjolnir isn't? When Cortana uses the Guardians to send off everything offline in the colonies at the end of Halo 5, what if everything pre-2553 was either unaffected or could have been reactivated and reused after the blasts? This gives 343 Industries the opportunity to bring back old weaponry, old ship designs, old marine designs, and most importantly, old Spartan designs. From a story standpoint, Halo 6's first act could be the Infinity evading Cortana and collecting old resources as their newer stuff becomes more obsolete over time with each encounter with the Guardians. The old BR could be brought back, the MA5C/B assault rifles could be brought back, old shotguns, a spanker, couldn't even be put in the campaign again permanently. Old sniper designs, old warthogs, scorpions, you name it, they can put it back in on a whim. This can give the story an arc which they really haven't done before in games, where the UNSC has to either trade with the insurrectionists or steal from them, which gives them this new but not new enemy to face other than the Covenant, which at this point really seems pointless as main antagonists. Reverting to the old art style can also open some doors to weapons, equipment and characters we have not seen in the game before. For example, the Spartan 3s turned Spartan 4s, Tom and Lucy of Beta Company, the MA5K carbine, the Savine Arms 10mm special featured in Halo Last Light, the M40 pistol, the MA2B and MA3 assault rifles, the pocket pistol. The list goes on and on and on. Side note, the pocket pistol is practically a Calibri from Battlefield 1, but just full auto. The idea that Gen 2 Mjolnir is made with Forerunner tech, that means that practically all the Spartan 4s would become obsolete, including Blue Team. But what does the UNSC have in storage somewhere in the galaxy? Oh yeah, that's right. Gen 1 suits. And who can use those? Blue Team. But what about the Spartan 4s, I hear you ask? Well, why not bring back another element that hasn't been seen in games before? The Spartan 3s. No, before you start saying, oh, they featured Spartan 3s in Reach, not the Reach Spartan 3s, they used Gen 1 Mjolnir. I'm talking about SPI, and if you don't know what SPI armor is, SPI armor was featured in Ghosts of Onyx, the Halo novel from the original Halo series. You should definitely read that, it is a great read. SPI armor is basically a cheaper armor from the Mjolnir, which could be easily manufactured and was very lightweight, and it didn't provide any other physical alterations to the Spartans. However, it did have very good active camouflaging and reflective plating, so you can introduce this armor in a sort of another story arc, where the Spartan 4s go from being near-invincible supermen to, well, human again. You know, they just become regular Marines again, like they were, but that, yeah, you know, they can be killed in this armor much more easily, so the tactics that they'd have to use would go from being guns blazing to something reminiscent of Halo 3 ODST. And this can be put in a mission, even. You can go around doing something reminiscent of Halo 3 ODST, like a stealth mission, and it could be glorious. When it comes to multiplayer, having too many weapons can be a problem, which is why in Arena in Halo 6, I propose that we have a certain set of UNSC weapons, which can be separate from all the weapons that you can put in campaign. So you can have God knows how many weapons featured in the campaign, but only a certain amount of them will be featured in multiplayer, and those I will go over now. The MA5C assault rifle featured in Halo 3, the BR-55 service weapon featured in Halo 2, the M392 DMR featured in Halo Reach, the M6G pistol featured in Halo 3 and Reach, the M7 caseless SMG featured in Halo 2 and 3, the M90 shotgun featured in Halo 1 and 2, the SRS-99C-S2 AMB sniper rifle featured in Halo 2 Anniversary, the Spanker rocket launcher, the M7057 flamethrower, and finally, the M319 grenade launcher. Some of these weapons have been featured in Halo 5, and they look fantastic, play fantastically, so why not put them in Halo 6? With the Covenant weapons, it's generally the same set of weapons like you have in Halo 5, just add the old art style to replace the current one, like with the Needler and stuff like that. You just revert them back on a whim, so it should be fine. The best example I can give to describe what Halo 6 needs to look like is Halo 2 Anniversary. Halo 2 Anniversary had the art style hit on the nail perfectly. It just looked beautiful, it was great, the weapons looked amazing, the Spartan models looked great in multiplayer, but obviously there's a few things that can be changed here and there, like the assault rifle in Halo 2 Anniversary looking like Halo 4's assault rifle, but other than that, it's just, it could be really easy to change it back to the old art style with Halo 6. And that's it. This is what I think 343 Industries should do from a canonical standpoint to revert back to the old art style. Thank you very much for watching. I've been JLoughlen. and that was Game Changers.